Yeah, revs rising, red lights go on. How long's a hold is this going to be? Quite long, lights go out. Again, a fairly even start from the first, well, 6 cars on the grid really, all more or less holding station. So it's Dan Polly that has the lead as they head down to the first corner. Bradley Tarleton's got himself ahead of John Hughes. He might have himself ahead of Rick Lanier as well as they go around Hatchett's for the first time. He does. So the blue car of Tarleton, the Gap, makes his way up into second place then. It's a very good start from him. He's chasing after Dan Polly as he did really in the 2 races at Donington Park. John Hughes said Peter Belzy is up into 4th place in the Spider. That's a former championship winning car. And then the rest of them all making their way through as they head down towards the ZRS's for the first time. Again, it's a 15-minute race for these cars. It's Dan Polly in the yellow Wev that leads from actually it's John Hughes now, number 27, put himself back ahead of Tarleton up to second place.
Yeah, John Hughes been in the category a long time, the top 3 in the championship multiple times as well. So probably the driver best position to go with our race leader here, Dan Polly. But Polly's obviously had some success. It was a really slow launch off the hairpin from Rick Lanier, who obviously got down to turn 2 in second place and came out of it a long way back.
Yeah, so he's come through in 5th place at the end of last one, having lost 3 positions. Oh, that's Peter Belzy locking up the Spider. Number 61, he's going to run wide and Lanier's going to get back through on the inside of him, so he gets 1 place back out of that. He's up into 4th position. There's a car that's slow away coming out of the hairpin as well. Pick up who that was in a moment. There's 1 car going very slowly, and it's the 72 car of Colin Gregory, the man from UK, from in Cornwall, that is very slow coming through Debelly, so he's probably going to be out of the race, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we've got some local interest. Vaughan Jones from Abergavenny running in 8th currently, and we've also got a driver from Cardiff, if I can relocate. Ross Price, number 8.
Did he take the stock? 'Cause he had dramas in qualifying, didn't he? I don't think he did, unfortunately. So hopefully he'll be back out for tomorrow's race, Ross Price. Meanwhile, the 2 leaders coming through to complete lap 2 of the race. That's Dan Polly and John Hughes, but it's Lanier now back to 3rd, who's done the best lap of the race, obviously on the first flying lap of 106.342. So after that sort of disappointing second corner, he's really got the bit back between his teeth.
Yeah, it was an odd one. It was almost like a missed gear selection, or got delayed by the lock-up from Belzy. Hughes is going with Polly here, but the pace Lanier's got might mean that they all come together in a lap or 2 if he's able to keep this similar pace. We've had a number of lock-ups down into the hairpin there. There we go. Hughes on a slightly narrower line there, whether Polly was wide or that's a line that Hughes chooses. Just seems to be a bit tidier at this stage of the race early on. And that gap possibly slightly smaller at this stage, and as they take the run down the straight.
You can see on the timing screen, if you're watching on the live stream, there's 4 cars with their numbers on a pink background. Those are the Class B drivers, and Class B has much more restricted suspension regulations than the main class. That's the difference between the 2 classes here. John Hughes in the main class has just done the best lap of the race, 105.868. He was 6 tenths quicker than Polly on that lap, and is right with him now as they come out of the Hatchett's hairpin through Spitfires for the 4th time, I beg your pardon, and we've got a battle for the lead on our hands here.
Yeah, Hughes has done well to close that gap up. It looked like Polly was starting to find a rhythm, but Hughes has got a bit between his teeth here, and he's again he seems able to hold the car slightly narrower to the some of the quicker corners here, chop some of the distance off. It's a sign of a car that's well balanced. Maybe the extra heat in the tracks may be affecting how the setups of the car are letting the drivers attack. But he's a lot closer this time as they get to the faster straight in the section through the kink. So and with the toe, that should keep closing up all the way down back to turn 1.
Yeah, well, it's about to come through Honda. Here they are out of our conference box window. We can see them now. And Hughes, is he going to be close enough to make a move? I don't think he quite is, down to Hatchett's hairpin. We'll have a look. Oh, and Polly locks up in a big way there, you can see. Does that give Hughes the opportunity? No, it doesn't, it seems. And possibly Hughes just backed out of that as well, not knowing quite what was going to happen as far as Dan Polly was concerned. These 2 are about 2 seconds ahead of Lanny, but Lanny's again done the best lap of the race, a 105.750, so he's catching them.
Yeah, Hughes again able to keep the car in a lot tight around the left, but he's actually lost a bit of ground there, whether he had to lift as Polly came back across. Polly kicked up some dust there on the exit of the S's, so they're both pushing on. They need to keep doing it, or Lanny's going to be able to keep reeling this gap in at the pace he's able to do.
105.750 for Lanny, well outside the lap record, which is a low 103, and that's not because these drivers aren't much cop, it's because they've changed tyres since Sam Oliveira set that lap record many years ago. It's probably going to be one of those lap records that he's never beaten in Formula V because of the change in the tyre regulations since then. The one Hoosie's now, the one Dunlop's when he set that record. Still really tight for the lead as they go down to the hairpin. Vaughan Jones now in fifth has got the best lap, a 105.539. So the man from Abergavenny, who's a sort of almost a perennial bridesmaid in this championship. He was third in 22, 23 and 24. Yet to improve on that. He's having a decent run here at his home track.
Yeah, it's a big gap back to fifth, so he must have had to come through quite a battle to get there. But you know, the race is long, and there's a chance at least he could catch Belsey from here. It's probably a bit much to ask that he'd get on par with the leaders, even with fastest lap pace. But speaking of the leaders, this gap seems to just sort of ebb and flow between sort of 2 and 4 tenths of a second at the minute. So whether Polly's managed to get a grip on the conditions a bit more, it's a lot warmer than when they qualified. It's just interesting to see if Jones is able to close that back up. Perhaps he's even had to drop back a little bit with temperatures and what have you. These are obviously only air-cooled machines, so...
I don't think we've actually commented on the fact that Bradley Tarleton has retired. Is there side-by-side for the lead of the race, through the hairpin? Two leaders there, Hughes and Polly. Of course, it was Tarleton that was initially chasing the race leader, Dan Polly, but he retired at the end of lap 2 of the race. The man that was second in both races at Donington Park, so quite a significant retirement that. And Hughes was very close through the hairpin and has lost a bit of time as they go through Debelly towards the centre S's.
Yeah, unfortunate that for Tarleton. Obviously, it's early in the championship, but it's obviously if you're in it for the season, you've got to be thinking about it all year. I was surprised Hughes was able to get up alongside Polly there at turn 1. He looked a little bit too far back, unless Polly was a little cautious this time. Because over the line, he was nearly 4 tenths behind. So
it caught me by surprise, certainly. Coming through Honda again. It will be shortly. Well, here they are. Yes, so through Honda now. And on to the start and finish rate. There's the 77 car. We're having a good look at there. That is Magic Camera, the motorsport journalist.
We've had a spin down at turn 2. There's a car slowly getting going again there. See?
That's the 15 car, isn't it, of Mike Oldknow in the GSR Bears GAC.
Yeah, but what that's going to do is create some traffic for these leaders, probably earlier in the race than it would have done, because he's not that far ahead of them on the track. That's a big lock-up for car number 25 there. That's Daniel Lanier, who's gone past and subsequently re-lost that position into turn 2. Yeah,
and he was battling for 10th with Magic Camera, actually, the Polish-born driver, motorsport engineer, currently living in Northampton. This is his first year in circuit racing, but he raced in karts for a decade before that. And he's a real motorsport enthusiast, is Magic.
I've just seen on that lap that Hughes actually posted the fastest lap last time around, although they've come round again, so it could have changed. So, but he barely gained any time, which shows how close the two leaders are. But he's definitely better on the brakes down into the first corner there, because he locks up in almost in avoidance of Polly down into the hairpin.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times, haven't we, where he sort of almost comes from nowhere to challenge. They are into the back markers now, of course. They've got Mike Oldknow to lap next. He's the car in 16th position, so I think this is the first bit of traffic that they're going to have to deal with here during the course of the race. And it looks to me as if Lanier was a little bit quicker to the top 2 as well.
Yeah, I think Polly's been generally quick around the rest of the lap, but just seems a bit cautious on the approach to the hairpin, and it's just costing them, although Lanier's been held up quite badly there at Brussels in the traffic, so that might have dropped him back out of contention. But there's more traffic to come here. They're as they approach Honda, possibly the worst place to find it.
There's Chris Wilshire in the number 59 car that they are going to go past now, I think. The 60-year-old from Steeple Bumpstead, retired aircraft engineer. So he goes a lap down with just under 5 minutes of the race left to go. There's a big gap here of 7/10 of a second between Polly, who's just done the best lap of the race, and John Hughes, 105.253. So they've just been shipping sort of hundredths off the fastest lap of the race and time between them.
Yeah, again, I'm just watching coming through the left-hander here. Hughes is able to just stay much closer to the apex. Polly was quite wide that time, so whether he pushed on a bit too hard that previous lap, it looks like that 3/4 of a second advantage has shrunk dramatically already.
It has, hasn't it, as they go past the number 2 car now. That's Gregor Thruston, long time historic 750 Formula racer, switching to the 750 Race Club's single-seater category for this season. 68-year-old company director from Bromyard in Herefordshire, been racing for 23 seasons.
Now this is the closest Hughes has been here. He's having a look into Honda. That's a big dive, but he looks like we've made it stick. Well done.
Great move from John Hughes to take the lead of the race, but Polly's going to fight back on the exit of the corner. They're going to be absolutely side by side as they run down to Hatchett's Hairpin with just under 4 minutes of the race left to go, and it's Polly that's back in front. So a very short-lived lead for John Hughes. In fact, even over the timing line, he was 9/1000ths behind. Polly back through.
Yeah, it's a good exchange though, and Hughes has now shown us where he's the strongest on the track. It was that was the closest he'd been for since the opening laps of the race, really. And so Polly's had a sight of how it might happen if Hughes is going to try again.
John Hughes, the Bristolian, started racing thick end of 20 years ago now in Formula V, raced against the likes of Sam Oliveira when he set that lap record here, and Martin Farmer, two very successful drivers from that era of Formula V racing, and some would say that is one of the best eras, the late 2000s. He's come back into it in the last couple of seasons. He's going to have another go at Honda. He's mighty at that part of the circuit, and again he goes through, but can he hold on to it this time? It looks like he's going to stand a slightly better chance, although again we're going to have Polly going back to him. There's going to be 2 more laps or 3 more laps to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, Hughes was mega defensive down to turn 1 this time, but the move at Honda was a lot more forceful this time. He made sure that he sort of elbowed, without contact obviously, Polly to the side to make a bit of space for him to take the wide line and keep some more momentum. And so we'll see how Polly reacts here. This is the part of the track where Hughes has typically been a little bit cleaner, but Polly's kept it tight round turn 2 there. Oh, sorry, round the left-hander, and positioning himself for a run out of Brooklands.
Yeah, so it's going to be 2 laps to go at the end of this one, I should say. Of course, if you can make a move to grab the lead at Honda, that's a very good place to do it. It is the last corner of the lap, and it is a very fast corner as well, so it's quite a ballsy place to make the move as well.
Yeah, and it was quite a dive bomb as well, wasn't it? So I can't imagine they're braking a great deal, but Polly's got a good toe here, and he's had a look down the inside, but thought better of it.
Yeah, he was trying to replicate what Hughes had done on the previous 2 laps. He realised that it was possible, and now he's faster than Hughes as they go along the start and finish straight towards the Hatchett's Hairpin. Polly locks up there as they go into the hairpin. He has to back out of the move. Does he lose a bit of time? Maybe a car length because of that, but it's still Hughes with the lead with this and 1 more lap to go in the race. It's a fantastic fight for the victory in this 3rd Formula V race of the season.
Yeah, we've had a change in the battle for Class B. Waterhouse ahead of Garner now after Garner had led the early stages. There's a decent gap between those two, so unlikely for battle to resume. So we'll stick with these leaders for now. Polly was close again as we come to Brooklands, but Hughes has been slightly better on traction coming out of here over the race, but he's missed the apex this time. That's going to give Polly a good chance with a toe down to Honda.
Down through the right-hander at Kells they will go, just picking up there on the battle between Adam McCauley in 5th. He's ahead now of Vaughan Jones, who had the fastest lap earlier on in the race. So McCauley, the Irish driver, who might be in doubt for a position here. Meanwhile, the leaders go on to their final lap of the race, and Polly is diving to the inside line here as they go up towards Hatchett's Hairpin. He's just done the best lap of the race at 105.179, and he goes back through ahead of John Hughes to retake the lead, but I don't think this is over yet, Pip.
No, impressive move that though. He was very brave with a late, pulled out of the slipstream very late, so we'll see if he keeps it clean through the left-hander. Hughes will be incensed by that and ready to come back and have another go. We know he's quick through Honda, but he's very sideways there. He's lost a lot of time to Polly.
That could be something that decides that he might just be too far back by the time they arrive at Honda now. They're only a couple of corners away from that now. It is, what, 6 car lengths behind? That feels like it's too much to make up to me. Round Brooklands they go. And Hughes will be absolutely driving his heart out here. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what he's done on previous laps, but I think he's just going to be too far back to make it work this time. He'll be a bit frustrated because of that. He's still got the speed through the corner. He closes on Polly, but it's not going to be enough. They come up to the line and the checkered flag goes out, and it's Dan Polly who is very, very pleased to have come out on top in that race, because he knew that he had a real race on his hands all the way through. So Polly wins from Hughes. In the end, it's a rather distant third place, but he's equally delighted is Rick Lanier with third place. That's one of his, if not his best result. It's going to be Vaughan Jones fourth and Adam McCauley fifth in the end. And then it should be Phil Waterhouse going to come home in 6th place in the Ferrari Tasso to win Class B. He just does that now. He comes across the line. But what a race that was between Polly and Hughes.
Yeah, we lost Belsey just near the end there. I see him parked up just in front of the rescue unit. So that's what's promoted Jones to 4th. But yeah, fantastic race between our leaders. A real good show of open wheel racing, really. There's a lot of respect. They were very close at times without contact. And yeah, just unfortunate for Hughes. Just pushed that a little bit too hard in the towards the final apex of the left-hander, and just created that unassailable gap to Polly, who was rightfully very pleased with that success.
Yeah, the successes are always much sweeter, aren't they, when you've had to really fight for it?
Absolutely, and that race went the distance as well. You know, there were no safety cars, no anything like that. I'm surprised the way they were battling. They were able to hold their pace. They did. I mean, we saw Polly take the fastest lap there.
Got it into the 104s, yeah, on the last lap, 104.833, and he needed to, because otherwise he wouldn't have won the race, I don't think. So Dan Polly, number 9, takes the win in the Web after 14 laps of racing from number 27 John Hughes in 2nd place. The gap between them just over a quarter of a second. Number 24 Rick Lanier took 3rd. Number 3 Vaughan Jones was 4th. 91 Adam McCauley 5th. For Waterhouse took 6th. A great result from him to win Class B as well. He'll be very pleased with that. Magic Camera was 7th ahead of Daniel Lanier and Bill Garner, with Rich Walsh completing the top 10 ahead of Rick Hockley, Jake Hockley, David Story, and I think Peter Belsey did play into the pits, but I think Greg First will be classified in 13th when all is said and done. Let's have a quick look at the next screen, if we can. Chris Wilshire will be 14th, Mike Coldlow 15th when we get the final cars classified. Right, I can see that we've got Kieran Mogg down in the pit lane. He's had to relocate because of all the Mazda MX-5s in the way, but we have found our race winner, Dan Polly, and we've got John Hughes in there as well, and also Rick Lanier, so we'll hear from them in just a sec. Be interesting to see what they've got to say after that, Pip.
Yeah, it's a good recovery for Lanier after that awkward first lap and after a good qualifying, but the leaders really stole the show with that one. I'm sure Hughes will be disappointed after coming so close, but a really commendable performance for both drivers, and Polly's rightfully very pleased. Just taking his helmet off now down there in the paddock, waiting to speak to Kieran. John's having a look around the back of the car on the number 27 there. Whether there was a reason why it got so sideways at the end, I'm not sure. But I think we'll have 2 very pleased drivers down there and one perhaps slightly disappointed one.
And I think we're ready to hear from them now. Kieran Mogg is there. He's going to speak to Dan Polly, John Hughes, and Rick Lanier.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can see behind me Dan Polly and John Hughes having a bit of a conversation after that Herculean battle between the two of them. And what I'll do, Dan and John, Dan, could I get you both together a second? Yeah, I just want to see. So, just that battle between the two of you, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. We gave each other space. The tow is amazing around here, but yeah, it was great racing, and thank you.
yeah, it was a really good battle. Yeah, it's just I was waiting for the last lap ball, but I didn't see one, so I kept I'm going to make the lunge on Honda, and I come back. It wasn't the checker flag, and then unfortunately just snuck up my inside on there's like a bit of a runoff area there, and he sort of sneaked into that bit and then got on my inside again. So yeah, it was a good race, like good close racing, give each other space, but yeah, it was good fun.
And it starts out quite tame a little bit, like you just sort of drove away from the rest of the field. Some of the moves were not sedate, but careful. And then towards the last couple of laps, that just all hell broke loose, I think.
Yeah, that's what I planned. I thought, right, let's try and get a bit of clear air, see if we can, and then put the pressure on towards the end. That was my plan.
And how was that on your point of view?
Exciting. I think I spent more time looking in my mirrors than anything else. But no, listen, it's great to go wheel to wheel with someone who is actually, can do it. So yeah, it's great.
And in comparison, your race was sedate almost.
It wasn't inside the car, I can tell you. I'm quite emotional because obviously it's my first podium, and I had to do everything to get that. That the flywheel broke before the race. We weren't even sure we were going to get onto the grid, and then I didn't have second gear at the very first corner, which is I dropped down to 5th place, and I could keep up with the boys in front. I just couldn't catch them. And then I developed a misfire in the last couple of laps, and I just nursed the car over the line. So I couldn't wait for that flag to come out, because it's been 3 years of absolute heartache. Absolute. I've just have so many problems, race after race after race, and to have every single thing thrown at me in one race, and then to get the podium at last, it feels fucking wonderful. So yeah, I'm a little bit emotional.
No, it's completely understandable. They always say the first one is the most difficult to get, so congratulations.
I had to do everything to get that one. It was just every single, for whatever reason, it just had to throw everything against me to get that. So the fact that I could keep the pace with the guys, I just, obviously I had to get past a couple of guys to catch these two, and they just had that gap and I couldn't close it. But the entire race I had them in my sight. I was hoping their little battle would let me catch them up, but I just didn't quite have the pace to catch them. And then I wouldn't have made a difference, because at the end I just nursed it home over the last 2 laps. So.
Well, absolutely. Well, congratulations. First ever podium. You never know, it might not be your only one this weekend.
I hope I can get out again, because I don't know. That's the truth. We've developed a misfire at the end, so I don't know if the car's going to come out again. We'll see.
Absolutely. Well, hope to see you back out on the grid, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you very much. Now, the 116s are on track, so Ian, Pip, back to you.